to your Monday edition of Kickback with Kelly and Barbara.
How are you?
You guys
How was
had
your
a great
weekend?
weekend. I had a great weekend. What about you?
Not too bad. Might have spent a little bit too much time in the sun again.
Evident from the shiny shoulders.
Got a nice tan going on,
Yeah,
and underneath there is a little bit of burn.
Nice. For those of you who've been digging into durian, that's my newfound obsession.
Okay, so I thought we were a team. I thought we had a special bond over being the two in the family who do not eat durian. It was our thing. She has converted to the dark side, and now she's a durian snob.
Yeah, absolute addict. So for those of you who've been digging in, hopefully you've been enjoying it. Apparently the first season of Durian has taken a dip and the second season hasn't kicked in yet.
Oh,
so
now she's a
hopefully we can
connoisseur.
ride through this drought and expensive prices, guys. Like, let's not go overboard, okay? Alrighty, so today we're all talking about community. And like we're mentioning just now, like, we're now divided. But we can come together and be united once again, right?
Thanks to you, Mum is trying to get me to eat durian. She
united-
never pressured me into this before, but yes, okay, fine.
As a united front, because it is all about the community. Like, eating durians is a very community-based thing. You don't do it by yourself. You do
They
it with
left
a
the
bunch
house
of
for an
friends.
hour. They were supposed to go and pick up durian, and then they were gone for the longest time.
Like
Bonding.
I said, it is community. And that's kind of the overarching theme for today as well.
Yes.
Community and youth outreach. And who better to talk about all of that than someone who has championed this for the better part of her entire life, I'm pretty sure. So please welcome our newly minted Member of Parliament for Ang Mo Kio GRC, Nadia A. Samdin.
Yay, welcome.
It was very strange. And I must say that, I'm firmly seated on this side because I don't eat durian either.
Yay.
And my husband does. So
your husband can come and
your
team
husband-
your
My
durian.
husband can sit there. That's right. Team firmly no durian ever.
But this is a new thing for me. Like this.
I watched your IG stories and I was just, how do you convert after
like,
most of
hating
your
it,
life? Yeah,
right?
yeah.
33 years.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
let's just
understand.
say the smells have changed. I really enjoy durian now. So let's talk a little bit about.
Sorry, the smell of last night is just, no, okay, I'm kidding. All right, let's go.
I actually had to move. There was an incident during the campaign when there was a lot of durian and some people were eating it, and I actually had to move to the other room because it was too strong.
Oh, I love it. Bring it my way. I'm just
Oh
like,
my gosh,
I love
who
it.
are you?
I'm a durian lover right now. Okay. Anyway, so actually, if you love durian, please
Oh
tell
my
me what
gosh.
you would like. I think it's really good. This durian really unites and divides people, right?
We need
Like,
to change the topic of this show.
Yeah. Okay, so
to
moving on.
unite,
Moving on.
divide.
Nadia, you've now obviously branched into politics. A very interesting realm, and you're one of the youngest fielded candidates. What was the experience like for you?
It was definitely very humbling. As hosts, or you have this chance to go and tell the stories of people, right? And you go around and find out their stories. And as a candidate, there was a lot of knocking on doors, a lot of sitting in kopitiams and trying to understand the daily stories of people. And then along with that, you're also very conscious of the responsibility that you have, not just to tell those stories, but hopefully in the next few years to try and improve those stories, to make their lives better. So where I was running is also a very senior demographic, which is quite interesting because, being the youngest candidate for the party and also serving a very senior demographic, you talk about a whole range of things, from things which our generation would want, as well as looking after our seniors. But it's relevant because, and I always say this, it's not that young people don't care about seniors at all. For us, how our parents age is something that is very close to our hearts.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. So maybe let's just backtrack a little bit and talk about your beginnings. Like, where did this all come from? Because you've worked for Channel News Asia, you've been a producer, you've been a lawyer. take us back a few years. I mean, we first met
2009.
A very long time ago.
We traveled to
11
Laos
years.
together.
We did.
To
yes.
cover the SEA Games
That's
in
right.
2009, and that was an
right.
incredible experience.
Yes.
So from there, maybe
Yes.
let's start from there.
Please
What's
don't ever bring up those photos.
let's talk about from there to here, what's happened.
Well, I started about 15 years ago serving the community in different ways, right? And over time, you are also very conscious when you've been in the room with people who really inspire you. And you see, especially, I don't know about you guys, but when you see especially a woman who can hold her own, a woman, you kind of look up to that person, and you want in some ways to be able to emulate that. And so for me, beyond the service, it was also about representation in the sense that you want to see people who are like you and feel like, yeah, I too have a voice, I too can participate. And that's really my hope, that in the long term, it will encourage other people to participate in their own ways and to do things for the larger community. So since back then, I've been involved in various youth causes like, the National Youth Council, Southeast CDC, Council of Women's Organizations, and most recently as a panel advisor to the Youth Court.
Yeah, and that sounds like an entire plethora of things that are under your belt.
It's
So
like a
has
career
everything?
portfolio.
Yeah.
Don't display my CV.
But the nice thing is, I think today we really wanted to just get to know you, because you are going to be representing the voices of us in Parliament. And I think it's very important that we get to know, especially one of the younger candidates who's going to be out there, and sort of fielding what we think up with those giants. And like we said, you are up there with the giants. You've got Daryl David, who's like that.
Tall.
And you've got like the Prime Minister who's there as well. So it is very, very interesting. And we're going to continue this conversation focusing on youths at risk and what more we can do for the community at large. So do stick around with us here on Kickback with Kelly and Barbara and Nadia, as we are going to go for a short break, but we will be back with more, plus one more guest. Don't go away.
And this episode is Breakfast with a Twist, as we head on right back to the kitchen right here at the Singapore Sport Institute. Now find out more about how you can create amazing recipes with quinoa. And on top of that, we also have our very gorgeous fitness coach that will be joining us on this episode. So stay tuned with us right here on What You Cooking Fast Forward.
Hello and welcome back to Kickback with Kelly and Barbara this manic Monday. We're all about the community, and we've got one more guest who has joined us here in studio. We've got Si Hui from Glyph. You're the senior lead. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, tell us a little bit more about Glyph. What's it all about?
Right, so I think we started off more with children, so with the younger ones. We run non-academic based programs for kids, mostly kids from the public rental flats, because we've realized that for these children, a lot of the time their parents are not there for them, on the weekends especially. So we're like a weekend home for these children, and they come for things like sports, they do arts, they do coding and things like this. And the main goal is really such that these kids, they have a mentor for life, right? We can teach them anything and everything. However, sometimes it's really giving them that support that they probably wouldn't have in school. So as you can see over there, those are some of our kids.
Oh,
yeah,
That's so cute.
yeah, so they do get a lot of different opportunities, and that's our main goal as well, to really equalize the opportunity. I think formal education has been really good in Singapore. However, in terms of looking at non-academic based programs, things which are beyond school, these are things which families from slightly wealthier backgrounds who could afford for their kids, but we know that most of the families that we work with, it's probably very difficult for them. And fast forward, that was like 3 years back. So right now, our kids have grown up and they have become
Changing
youth.
with the time.
Yeah, and we realized that we had to, and with COVID as well, we couldn't meet a lot of the kids. A lot of them have grown up to become youths. So youths, they go through that stage where they're like, I don't want to
You guys are not
come.
so cool anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to come anymore.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, but
I'm moving on.
So I think that was when we realized that we wanted to use fitness as really as a universal language to connect with these youths. So they're not kids anymore, they're more of youths. And we wanted it to be more like a peer-to-peer platform, and that's why we started GFit. So community trainers potentially like yourselves, you all could come on board, pick a youth who is free maybe on Saturday or Sunday mornings, and then the youth can meet you, wherever you're at. If you're at Ang Mo Kio, they'll meet you at Ang Mo Kio, and then you all can do a workout together. And yeah, working out together is just a way for them to find a life mentor, and they are willing to do it. You see, they are the ones who will book the workout. They're not going to be forced by their parents. Because back then when I was in secondary school, I'm like, I'm not going to listen to my parents.
I love how you're coming at it from a really real perspective, right? And I think this is the important thing about having youths driving this conversation, driving this sort of change, because only we know what the youths need. I mean, you look exceptionally young.
I dare not ask.
I know. Right?
Let's not ask.
We'll leave this to the side. But like, you look very young, so it just means that you're very
she still
relatable.
is very young.
She's young. Are you past a 2000?
I'm 1997.
You're almost there. That's disgusting. Right. Okay. Never
It's
mind.
not too bad. It's only like
It's 10 years.
6 years.
It's 6 years. You're just rubbing it in. Anyway, so no, I mean, let's get back to the point then. Reaching out to the community, and this is something both of you have done and both you continue to do. Why is it so important to look at these youths, especially when they're coming from slightly riskier backgrounds? Why is it so important to reach out and engage with them?
Because I think we kind of always forget, when we go through our daily lives, be it going to school, going to work, we don't realize that there's always this part of that segment that probably is forgotten, it's tucked away. A lot of us don't realize that we actually stay very close to public rental flats. Thankfully, they look exactly the same as your typical HDB. However, when you're actually there and you meet the families, because every night we go to the public rental flats, every weekends as well, we meet the kids. We've realized that it is very different for them. I mean, going to school, taking the bus, it seems like a really easy thing for a typical youth. But then for these youths, they think about things like, oh, will my family be able to get through the next month and the following month? Yeah. So that's when we really can't forget about them. And I think this platform is just a way for us to start thinking about it. I think everyone can just do a little, and it would really, really make a difference, really. So these youths just want to feel heard. They want to feel like they can do something. Yep, that's right. So we shouldn't see them as, someone who just needs help.
Yeah.
They actually want to contribute, and I think that's the good thing. I mean, you're at youth corps as well, so I'm sure you know a lot of the.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is when we talk about youth, a lot of times it's like, what can the youth do? How can the youth contribute? And you see them, but at the same time, it's also very important to realize, how do you value add to the youth? Because the youth have needs too. And I mean, when we talk about youth, and this is something I say a lot, is that youth in Singapore, the working definition is 15 to 35.
Yep.
And that
Hey, we're all in there.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Still love ya. Yeah.
Thanks.
So that's very different life stages. When in the younger band of that, you're thinking about school. Do I have enough money to get to school? My EasyLink card is empty, for example. Or how do I pass an exam? Or what course do I do next? And then after that, you think, maybe I need to get a job, part-time or full-time. Do I continue studying, etc.? Right. Beyond that, then you think about, maybe getting married or getting your own house. And along that spectrum, each band has very different needs. And I think it's really important. And what you're doing is really inspiring. It's mentoring in a very organic way. Yep. I think the word mentoring can be quite overused. Yep. Ultimately, it's about finding that spark and that match, right? And actually, in Malay we say tak kena, if you don't, if there isn't that match, then it doesn't always work out.
And I think it's so great that there is that level of accountability from them as well, because they are the ones making the bookings, they are the ones reaching out to us. And from our point of view, it's almost like, what can we learn from them as well? Because they've got a lot to give. And it's this beautiful two-way street.
Yeah, so I'm quite excited about being part of this, because for me it's an opportunity to help groom someone, but also, like Barbara said, to learn from them. But what can anyone else there on the street, what can they do to help you guys out?
Right. I think, example, if you're a youth, and you might come from a slightly wealthier background, you might not be staying in a rental flat or anything. I think the first thing you can do is, if you're in school, then you should talk to your friend, find out what's happening at home. I think these are little things that youths can do. I think for working adults, it could be even just, being involved in youth conversations, being part of, campaigns and things like this. Finding out, the internet is great in the sense where you could check out, what's happening right now, what are the social issues that Singapore have, and how you can be involved in it. Just in terms of, I guess there are a few levels. One of which is just awareness, right? If we build the awareness, that's when we could slowly build up on, gradually the actions and eventually the change. But it is something gradual, for sure.
Now, something that Nadia, you're very good at is storytelling, right? And I think when it comes to meeting these individuals, it's almost like, especially if other people are to help, if you have your fitness influencers and all of that, they are crafting stories and helping to profile the fact that this is a problem in Singapore and that we need to be stepping up at the ground level to assist and help. But Nadia, you're very good at storytelling. And one of the stories that I really loved and was a privilege to be a part of was your Father's Day video about what we want for our daughters of Singapore.
So heartwarming.
It was very, very heartwarming. We're just going to play you guys a little bit of a snippet in the background at the moment. Nadia, you are so eloquent, but I loved the message that you were trying to portray because it's about the next generation. It's about what we want for the future daughters of Singapore, right? Tell us a little bit more.
So the video was created by my husband, who is an even more amazing storyteller, really. For me, it's this, what do we want for the next generation? And it's something that's been always very conscious that I've tried to remember and do my work. Because realistically, it's not so much about where you get to or what position you hold or what power you have, but ultimately, if after you're gone, and we all will go one day, what can you leave behind? Who else have you empowered? And that is what will live on to me. And when we think about making a better future, it's really not just for ourselves, but it's about, our parents and the next generation. And sometimes, there were recent social, that the internet is great, but at the same time, the internet can be a little bit of a show, right? A circus. And, this video was done at a time where there was a discussion about women and, objectification. And for me, it's just like, man, we're in 2020, let's really focus on what we can do for the next generation, how we can make it better. And that's what inspired this video. And they're all very real people, they're all my friends. And I was really grateful that these different women took the time to be part of this video.
Yeah. I think it's a great message to have. And I think sort of, especially now that you're a member of parliament, you've got to have a strong vision of what you want changed. Because obviously we've entrusted you to be our voice and to stand up for us. So I think just to sort of wrap us up on both ends, what do you want to see change? What does the future look like for you?
Well, that's a very big statement, and I tend to try to break things down and just and start with going with the next day at the moment. But for me, some of the things which I think are really important is number one, we talk a lot about vulnerable families, and that's something which will always be very dear to my heart. I've always worked with youth at risk, youth in rental flats, etc. Strengthening vulnerable families. So not just from a youth perspective, but also with their parents and sometimes their grandparents, because the parents are out of the picture. Vulnerable families is something which is really important to me. The other segment would really be the sandwich class, because, other than our vulnerable families, if you move a little bit further up, ultimately it's the aspirations of all Singaporeans. And even though from a typical financial criteria perspective, the sandwich class may not be what you see as, having financial difficulties. But during COVID, for example, COVID has affected us all in different ways, some more disproportionately than others, but everyone has had to change their lifestyle in a way. And so I think the sandwich class, who looks after both, their kids as well as their parents, that's something which is really important to me. And of course, finally, last one, really just in terms of youth and seniors, where I think about, people think about it as two ends of the spectrum, but I think, increasingly over time, instead of being very polarized, it's important to build bridges and find that common ground.
Totally agree. Yeah, I work with a lot of youths, so they actually work really well with elderly.
Yeah.
It's great.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, so that means if you would like to step up and help your community, go check out Glyph. Go see what you can do to help these guys out. We will hook you up and get you in touch.
That's right.
So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Nadia, amazing to talk to the next generation. Like
Yes.
I'm looking
You're
and
a voice and
expecting
a representative
big
of a
things.
lot of
I will
people.
do my best. I will do my best.
Oh, we're looking forward to
Amazing.
seeing what else you can do and how great a potential you can achieve as a new member of parliament. We're gonna
Together.
go together, right?
Yes.
Together, SG United. Okay, all right. On that note, we're gonna go for a short break. When we come back, I'm gonna make Barbara sweat it all out. Although I don't know how she's gonna cope with all of that
Can't
sunburn.
move with the sunburn.
Never mind. We'll work it out. Coming right back after this break. Stay with us here on Kickback with Kelly and Barbara.
And this episode is breakfast with a twist as we head on right back to the kitchen right here at the Singapore Sport Institute. Now find out more about how you can create amazing recipes with quinoa. And on top of that, we also have our very gorgeous fitness coach that will be joining us on this episode. So stay tuned with us right here on What You Cooking Fast Forward.
Welcome back. What are you doing? I come back. Hello and welcome back to Kickback with Kelly and Barbara this Monday. Clearly, we're still getting into the Monday groove.
Yeah, the groove of Monday is always a little bit of a hard one. So hopefully to help you shake off the funk, we've got a short workout that you can do repeated multiple times in order for you to get a really nice sweat over the course of the next 15 minutes. But
That's
we're
right.
just going to show you one set of everything you need to do. It'll be 40 seconds work, 20 seconds rest. Super simple, but let's get the blood flowing by working on your legs. It's important to do a little bit of single leg work.
Yes.
Because it helps with the balance,
Balance.
coordination, and also to strengthen up the weaker side. So without further ado, the first thing we're going to be doing is a single leg deadlift, but we're going to be touching on either side. Let's go. We drop down,
Up.
touch to the ground, come up and touch to the other side. Change legs.
You're going to be nice and stiff.
Drop
so it's
down.
not something you want to feel pressured into rushing through. Just getting a nice stretch on your hamstring as well. And then just using the glute to kind of squeeze your way up as you go down. Keep that core nice and tight.
Try not to fall over.
Try not to fall over. Try not to round your back as well. But you'll feel a nice little stretch. So you just got 3, 2, 1, and time. I mean, that was close enough. Next one we are doing is...
The next one we're going to be doing is our squat pulse.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so squat, and then we're gonna go to a tiptoe, so you get nice solid activation on those glutes. So we're gonna go squat and tiptoe. Squat and tiptoe. So again, we're kind of working a little bit of that balanced core. So you're not just pushing yourself up, but you need to maintain a certain level of control.
Just so you can
and
see that tiptoe.
contraction, yeah. I think there's a song by Jason Derulo that's called Tiptoe.
Tiptoe. So if you can see, tiptoe up, squeeze your glutes. Tiptoe up, squeeze your glutes.
Oh, 10 more seconds.
Squeeze.
Always try and keep that chest up. Okay, I feel my quads getting engaged
On
now.
fire. Okay, and rest.
All right, we're gonna go into a tabletop for the next one. So hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. You're gonna float your knees a little bit off the ground, nice flat back, and then we're gonna do alternate knee taps. Whew, not yet. We've got a few seconds. In 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go.
Knees off.
40 seconds.
Try not to sway your hips too much when you're doing this. So you want to try and keep the control in your core as you hold it tight removing one hand at a time. This will train up your obliques to make sure that you're nice and steady. You also don't want to be lifting your bum too high up in the air. Keep those knees
Caught myself there.
nice
My knees
and
are just
low.
getting higher and higher. Okay,
Nice
someone
and
needs to
low.
tell me when we hit
10 more seconds.
Okay. Oh, quads are definitely
Feeling it at the moment.
fired up, yeah.
So try and keep low. 3, 2, 1,
Oh.
and rest.
Okay, woo. Just feeling it right there.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is a pop squat. So
Oh
you'll
gosh,
go
it's
down.
all in the legs today.
You will touch the floor, then you will pop back up.
But try not
Alternating
to
your hands.
hinge over too much.
That's right. You're going to try and drop down as low as you can. Ready?
Okay.
Let's go.
Last one.
Down.
End on some good cardio.
Don't worry about like speeding through these. You just want to make sure that you are going slow and steady. Drop as low as you can.
When we get that close shot on you, just look like popping into shot constantly. Like, here I am. Here I am. Peekaboo. Oh gosh, okay.
Last
15 more seconds.
15 seconds.
Whew. Okay. Oh, grandma.
7 seconds more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. You are done and dusted. You okay there?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. But you always close the show because I don't ever have enough breath to finish up.
Right, okay. Well, hopefully you guys picked up a little something, and hopefully you will be able to learn a little bit more about what you can do to help the community, to make sure that you can learn how to give back today. I really enjoyed chatting with Nadia today and with Si Hui.
Yeah, today was a great episode. There's a lot of insight into what we can do, but also how we can learn from these youth as well. I mean, technically, you're still a youth.
Technically, only just made the cut, but yeah, a couple
And
of
going
years left
with
to go.
community, I think a lot of episodes going forward, we're going to be talking heavily about this topic, just to raise some awareness. And I think it's super important that we just start conversations.
Absolutely. So make sure you join us again on Wednesday. A bit more about community, but in a slightly different sense. We will see you on Wednesday.
Get active. Oh,
On
Get
Wednesday,
Active TV.
8 p.m. Make sure you join us for Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Bye-bye.